This is a Big Facts Network exclusive.
Yo, what's going on the show? Big homie Kodak 96.1 to beat Atlanta's new home for hip hop, R&B, and the Breakfast Club. We got a legend in the building. Syleena Johnson. What's going on, Queen? How you feeling?
What's popping? You know, I'm just out here trusting the Lord.
That's all I can do. Yeah, that's all you can do. Because you know what my mama told me, you can't worry and pray.
Hello, somebody.
Yeah.
Somebody ought to shout it right then.
Yeah, for sure. So you're in the ATL talking about some of this new music. So this new album you got coming on. Tell the people about it. What can they expect?
Well, it's called Legacy, and it is pretty much like a collaborative album. The producers under Toxic Productions, of course, I've been working with them for the past 2 decades, actually. But Toxic, I don't know if you are familiar with Toxic. He was he's from Chicago. He produced most of Twisted stuff, you know, Kamikaze, all of that. He's produced Cardi B, Red Bottom, the Deezus Blood Shoes. He's part of that production team. And there's so many producers under Toxic Productions. Johnny Danger, DLOW, B. Scott, Yayo, Maestro. It's so many amazing talents under the Toxic Productions umbrella. So first, I just want to shout them out because without their music and their creativity and their efforts and bringing my idea to life, I wouldn't be able to sit here and tell you about this album. So the other part is my father and his catalog. I sample pretty much every record. I allow the producers to just have their way with sampling. You know, I'm sure that was super fun for them. And we sampled his catalog, and we also put his voice in it. And so he's throughout the entire album. And so I wanted to create something, you know, since he's one of the most sampled artists of our time, I wanted to be, you know, I wanted to do it as his actual daughter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To kind of show the similarities between our gifts and honor him at the same time.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. That's heavy. That's a lot. So you spoke right now on the sampling topic of music, but I know recently there's been a lot of pushback against like how creatively or lack of thereof artists are using some of these samples. I know in the hip hop genre, it's almost kind of like, why is the producer putting this tag on it if it's literally the same beat? Like the average consumer is not going to be able to hear the difference if there is any at all. So what are your thoughts on like the rampant use of sampling, not even just in hip hop, but sometimes in R&B as well?
I think sometimes sampling can be kind of lazy sometimes when it's just used to jog the memory of or invoke nostalgia. You know, when you invoke nostalgia, you automatically get people to feel like they've heard your record before.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think in that instance it might be lazy. But you know, I think also too some producers are trying to be creative and it's maybe just not
it's not landing.
It's not landing, you know, because there is an art to it. And I think that has not been discussed enough. Obviously, some of our most favorite producers, like a Kanye West, are gurus at sampling. You know what I'm saying? And would they honestly really want to tell you the secrets, you know, behind it? You know, so I think that maybe some producers are just trial and error. Some producers are just like, well, if I throw a sample in it, that'd be hot, you know, because people like samples. And I just think that maybe sometimes they're, you know, trying to use the samples and it's just not landing. You know, we would think or what we're used to hearing. Yeah,
for sure. And you definitely spoke to something just now that I've thought before myself when it comes to like, okay, this is something that the people already are familiar with. They already recognize it. Like for instance, like I grew up in the 90s, so I was socialized in the 2000s. So I grew up listening to artists like Nelly, and that's somebody who we see is sampled a lot. He has a lot of things that are sampled. So it's like, I think it is laziness from a part of the producer and the artist because they think in their mind, okay, this song is already big, so let me just remake this song.
Right.
So I don't have to do any heavy lifting.
In that instance, it can skew lazy.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah.
And I think it speaks more to that as well when the artist isn't, like, you're not going to sample a song that wasn't already a hit either.
Right.
So like Nelly has a lot of bangers, but he has a lot of songs that are good but aren't as well known. You're not really gonna hear those samples all the time. And I think really one of the most creative ways that I've seen sampling or interpolation of a song, Shabuzi. A bar song with Tipsy. That one was definitely creative, and I like seeing the blend of genres there as well. And that brings me to another point. What do you think about like the current? It's almost like we're blurring the lines between urban music, whether it's hip hop and R&B, and other popular genres as well. Like we saw earlier this year, Beyoncé had the Cowboy Carter album that wasn't really a country album, but it was a Beyoncé country. It was Beyoncé's version of a country album because there were songs on there that were hip hop. Like I feel like Spaghetti was a hip hop song. So do you think like we're now in a space to where music is becoming genreless?
No. I think people are always going to put music in a box because they have to. You know what I'm saying? Especially, in terms of when you have press outlets, they have to. They have to put your music in a specific kind of box.
Why do they have to do that?
Because that's the way that people listen and consume music. But let me finish. I think what we're in right now is a space where we're allowed to be creative. I don't think it's genreless. I think it can still be in a genre just because one artist did an album that they called country and it wasn't really as country as you thought it was going to be, doesn't mean that, now everybody's doing that, because everybody's not doing that. Beyoncé, as we know, is pretty much in a lane of her own. She pretty much does whatever she wants to do. And the truth is, most artists really can, but they just have fear in doing whatever it is that they want to do, right? So, I mean, somebody could listen to Legacy and say that this is genreless. Somebody could say it's soul. Somebody could say, it's blues. Or somebody might say, but it's all about, you want people to be able to compartmentalize it so that it makes sense for them. You want them to be able to ingest it. If not, then they don't know how to. That's just their natural way of being. They're going to ingest it what's comfortable for them. Oh, okay, this is this. So on a mood, music is attached to your mood. So on a day where maybe I need to listen to some country music, I can say, well, let me go to number 6 on Beyonce because that's more country.
Yeah.
Let me go to Texas Hold'em because that's, and then maybe, well, I still like Beyonce. That's my girl, but I would rather listen to Spaghetti today, because music is about mood and it is the soundtrack of your life. So you don't necessarily have to say it's genreless, but they're compartmentalizing. You see what I'm saying? That's compartmentalizing. That's putting it in a genre when you have a mood. So if you say, man, you know what? It's raining. I need to go turn on Sade. You know what I'm saying? It's about mood and it's about creativity. What we saw Beyonce do is basically saying, hey, I am not going to sit in boxes. I can do whatever I want. But if you think about an artist that already said that a long time ago was Lauryn Hill. She said it in her record. I get out of all your boxes. I get out. So she was attempting to be able to be as creative as she wanted anyway. You know what I'm saying? But people, us, the consumers, we have to consume it a certain way that's going to fit for us, for our mood and for our lifestyle. So it's okay that it's genre for that specific moment. But what I think what you're talking about is the freedom of independence, of being able to create whatever we want, because everybody has access to your music at any given time. So it's not controlled by a label where they can, we don't know what Beyonce album is, so we're going to shelve it. You know, back in the day, we don't know what this album is. We can't call it, so we'll shelve it. You see what I'm saying? Where now, Beyonce can put an album out. Anybody can put an album out however they want to. They can have an album that's talking about. Jhené Aiko did an album that was all about meditation. It's one of my favorite albums of hers. And a label back in the day might have said, ain't nobody finna buy no album about no meditation. But because she has access to social media, her fans are like, oh, wow, this is really what I needed. So they can kind of bypass the boxes that the industry puts them in. But the consumer still needs to be able to identify it in a genre for their mood and lifestyle.
You definitely made some great points there. I remember I did an interview with a female rapper a while ago, and she was talking about like how she felt like she had to make this certain type of music, which like the typical female rap that we hear now, like club that type of sound, and she felt like pressure from her label, whereas you have to make this type of music,
or we
even
not
though
gonna
you
sell
want,
it.
you want to be creative, so you need to figure that out. But we need to hear this.
Correct.
Yeah,
and that's the pushback that you see in society when Beyonce says, "Okay, I just did, the one big tour that she did. I can't think of the name right now.
Renaissance.
When she just did Renaissance, which was outstanding, fantastic, amazing. You knew specifically what this album was. You knew what it was trying to do. You knew all about it. Everything, the visuals matched, everything was great. But then the minute she said, well, I'm going to do something else, that's kind of what I want to do. No, we don't want you to do that. We want you to do what we used to you doing.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what people need to understand, though, is it's okay.
Yeah.
If somebody want to do something else, you just ingest what you take what you want, and then you put the others on the time when you can deal with that.
For sure.
Or not.
Yeah.
You don't have to like every single thing that an artist does. You know what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying. And I agree, because I was one of the people, like, when I heard the Beyonce album as a Southerner, I was like, okay, about to get some country rap tunes. Cool.
Right,
about to get some country tunes. But then I heard it and I was like, this is how it came off to me. This is not a country album, but this is a Beyonce album of her interpretation of country. Mm-hmm. And I've always said Beyonce doesn't particularly make music for me. Like, I don't resonate. I didn't resonate with Renaissance, Lemonade, but that's not because Beyonce is a bad artist.
Right. That's just not your type of music.
Yes, Beyonce is great. You'd be crazy to say Beyonce is not great.
Right.
But you have to realize, and as consumers, we have to realize that sometimes this music isn't. I'm not the target demographic for this. The same way somebody that may be listening to BOSSMAN DLOW or Kodak Black may be like, what is this shit?
Now, BOSSMAN DLOW, that's my boy.
You listen to BOSSMAN DLOW? Okay, Mrs. Pot Scraper.
BOSSMAN DLOW is my dog.
Wow. I didn't see this review.
Let me tell you something. But
where are you listening to BOSSMAN DLOW?
Me and my son. My son love BOSSMAN DLOW. We be knowing all the words, and we love BOSSMAN DLOW.
I love
Don't get
that.
it twisted. But I love the way. I just love all his songs. He's very funny to me.
Yeah.
But lyrically, he cold.
Yeah.
People sleep on BOSSMAN DLOW.
Okay.
But
okay.
You just put me in the box.
I did.
Okay.
I did. You just bam, bam. No, you can't do that to me.
But how can you do that when you know my history? I've been I've been on some of the biggest hip hop songs as singing the hooks. Yeah. So I am part of hip hop as well. So it would be nuts for me to not like hip hop.
But hip hop has just changed so much.
It's evolved.
Yeah, it's evolved.
It's evolved.
It's evolved. I feel like it's branched out in different directions, and all those directions didn't go upwards.
Well, let me tell you something. They did not go upwards, all of them, but neither did R&B.
What do you think about the state of R&B right now?
I think that we're still out here. Well, I know my genre is doing what we've been doing. I think that the younger generation is a little, they've evolved. Yeah. But I think part of their evolution has been tainted a little bit by, and I'm not saying that it's bad. I love the Lucky Days. I love the Coco Browns. I love her. I love some of the newer R&B singers. Khalid, I love him. But what I do notice is that there's a lot of, so remember when R&B was like popping. That's the Cisco days and all of that era where
I was in middle school then.
You see what I'm saying? Well, we'll put a rapper on their record for them to get off. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Or, you know what I'm saying? So what has happened is, or rappers needed, quote unquote, because they never really did, but they felt like they needed a singer to get their record off, right? Uh-huh. You know what I'm saying? So what happened was, over time, rappers started to sing their own hooks. Mm-hmm. Then you have the Nellies. You have the Drake, the era of Drake. They start to sing their own hooks. Now, guess what? The ear starts to be trained to that being the status quo, that being the sound of singing that is now ingested in that now we're used to, because we in the club turning up and we're aligning it with our mood, with our life. It's our soundtrack now. So now we're used to off-key singing. Look, DMX used to turn up on singing terrible.
He did.
But we used to turn up to that, because I love DMX as well. Yeah. But people got used to that because it became so frequent. So now R&B is trying to mimic what the rap people that don't sing good are doing so that they can be more receptive, because the tables have turned. Their music can be more receptive. The tables have turned. Hip hop is now one of the, if not the number one genre in music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's always going to be pop. But then hip hop is really up there. You can even call pop. You call some records pop that are hip hop. You know what I'm saying? So the watered downness of the vocal has contributed to now the new R&B in a way. And so when some of us hear it, we like, people like that, they ain't even singing good. Well, I come from an era where you had to know how to sing. Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, Aretha Franklin, Shaka Khan, Brandy, like these people, those artists, you had that era of R&B and music. Faith Evans, Kelly Price, them people sang. You see what I'm saying? They sang. Even Mary back, because people judge Mary, but Mary's early albums, My Life, what's the 411, singing. You see what I'm saying? Tevin Campbell, which people just not getting up on. Tevin been singing. You see what I'm saying? So I come from an era where you had to know how to sing, where now you really don't. So I think we're losing a little bit of the emotion that we've been tied to because of the way that our artists sang back then. And we got it from even further back, where the R&B and soul singers sang from the helms of civil rights. You know what I'm saying? The things that were going on in our community. So the emotion behind that, the Marvin Gaye's, the Donny Hathaway. You listen to a Donny Hathaway song
I love
today,
some
you'll
Donny
cry.
Hathaway. I love some
You
Donny
still
Hathaway.
cry.
Yeah.
We're alone now.
I've been so
Come
many
on
places.
now.
Yeah.
And then you ain't heard nothing till you heard his daughter sing it. Layla Hathaway, take you out of here.
Yeah.
It'll take you out of here.
Yeah.
So I think that is kind of tainted the state of R&B music because of that flip in trying to be commercial.
They're trying to keep up with hip hop.
But you know what is saving R&B? And ain't nobody said this. Gospel.
Really?
You want to know why?
Talk to me.
Because people are now loving gospel music, because gospel is becoming the R&B that we missed. So because gospel is such a huge genre that people be sleep on, now, you have a lot of gospel songs that sound like R&B, like with J Moss. You know what I'm saying? Tamala Mann's last album was off the chain. Mary, their album was very R&B-ish. You see what I'm saying? So because gospel, the way that gospel singers sing unapologetically down to the floor, they're able to get away with, we're used to hearing that singing in church. So they're able to get away with it. So now R&B singers like us, we can kind of go back to our roots in singing and really singing with feeling and emotion in these records, because there is an audience that will receive that. Or we can be ourselves in live shows, because now we expect it. Because that little singing, that little rap singing, that don't work live. That don't work live. Unless it's a massive hit, and everybody just gonna sing along.
The attempt counts, because I saw a video of Tommy Richmond, the guy that had the $1 Million Baby song.
Right.
They had the video of him, and people were like, "Oh, did he sound? Well, what did you? The song is a lot of.
That's
it's a lot
not
of
really
production.
R&B though.
It's a lot of production behind the song.
Correct.
I mean, as far as like the singing aspect,
It's
people
just a great record.
Yes, it's a great record.
Sometimes it just records just be a great record.
And I'm be honest, I'm not gonna go to a concert to see Tommy Richmond perform it live.
But you know what? We don't know what Tommy Richmond really can do. Sometimes you have to, in the words of Lauryn Hill, without cursing, she said you have to throw a mother effer for an ignorant NIGGA to understand, right? And what she meant by that is sometimes you have to lead with something to catch the people, and then you can ease them in. Case in point, Tweet. Ooh, there goes my shirt up over my head, oh my. Has nothing to do with Southern Hummingbird. When I tell you that album is ridiculous, that is just a piece of what Tweet can do. If from that song and that video, she was like a sex symbol and all of that, when you get into Southern Hummingbird, she becomes a totally different concept. Tweet plays the guitar. I can't cut up when I'm with you. You got that going on now. And I bet you always will. Her writing, you would never know that it is that beautiful and prolific just from that single. But that single is the single that will catch everyone. And because of it, bring all the people back to the album. And then they'll be open to really understanding who she is. So that could be something that he's done. You see what I'm saying? I'll even go Beyonce and Destiny's Child. You were saying no, 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 when it's really yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that's catchy.
Yeah, it is.
But the truth of the matter is, that girl sing. People can say what they want about Beyonce, but Beyonce really does sing up under the floor. She really can sing down to the floor. The tone of her voice is sweet and high. So people mistake the fact that, because she doesn't have that woofy tone that a lot of Kiara Shear Clarks have, that she's, or Faith Evans or whatever, that she's not a singer, but she really is. But you need those records. Say my name. Without having those records, you can't hear, it's just emotions taking me over. When she blew in that record, you know what I'm saying? Or the entire Dangerously in Love album.
Yeah, for sure. Now you mentioned the rapper singers, the rappers that play around with the melodies. So I have a few questions, but I do want to know. I like lists. I like statements, and these are my favorites. So who are some of your favorite rapper turned singers? You can give me your top 3. Or is top 3 limiting it?
Oh man, I would say DMX.
DMX.
He wasn't really a singer, but I love the fact that he would sing anyway and didn't care.
Yeah.
Let me think real hard. I would have to put Drake up there because Drake said, "Hey, I'm about to do a whole singing album too."
Yeah.
And of course, number 1 would be Lauryn Hill.
Okay.
She is the epitome of, I'm equally dope at singing and rapping.
Yeah.
So the Fugees. You see what I'm saying? Equally dope at singing and rapping.
I like that list. But I feel like Drake kind of got, like, people tried to Little Boy Drake. Like, really this whole summer, like, going back to that Kendrick and Drake thing, it was like, Kendrick said, I like Drake with the melodies. I don't like Drake when, like, damn, he can't rap and sing and it not be like a point, like a strike against him?
That's the thing. 2 things can be true at the same time.
Yeah.
He can be someone who, he doesn't have to be Luther Vandross.
Yeah.
You know, he can still hold a tune and still get his point across. Why can't he just be whatever his talent is?
Yeah.
If you don't like it, just don't like it.
Yeah.
You know, why do we have to associate it with him being soft?
Yeah.
We ain't do that to DMX. Wyclef Jean be singing down to his Gone to November, he was singing down.
Yeah.
So we didn't do that to him. So I don't think it's about his gift as much as about them actually probably knowing him for real. And maybe they know him. You know what I'm saying? It might be something we don't know.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It might be deeper than that.
Yeah. So
the lyrics was a little personal, you know,
them things were stinging now.
Yeah, it was. Them lyrics wasn't fair. They wasn't right, and it just felt like we was let in on a conversation that wasn't.
We was
business.
in the group chat. We got added to the group chat.
I felt like it wasn't our business.
But being from Atlanta, I definitely Schoolie is somebody who I do think in Atlanta kind of revolutionized the rapper turned singer thing.
Okay, see, now I'm not familiar with Schoolie. So that's going to make me go look at Schoolie.
Yeah, Schoolie is an Atlanta icon when it comes to that. A lot of people say Future kind of was.
Oh, Future's the bomb.
Yeah, Future's great.
Dope.
Future's great. And I like Young Thug on that as well because I
like Young Thug too.
Yeah, Thug doesn't try to be Usher when he sings.
That's the thing. That's fun when they do that.
Yeah.
When they just don't care, like DMX used to do that.
Yeah,
he didn't care.
That's
he
a good
just
comparison.
used to sing. He didn't care.
And then he'll be singing on the hook, then he come back to you with the bars.
Ja Rule too.
Yeah.
Ja Rule used to turn up on singing and didn't care if he don't sing good.
Exactly.
It's not about him singing good. It's just really, and I think a lot of it came from too. Listen, if I sing my own hook, I don't have to pay artists 40, 50, 60 G's out of my budget to sing this hook.
Because, listen, your fans want to hear you at the end of the day.
Yep.
Because I could be listening to a Young Thug song, and I'm like, oh, my God, Young Thug is off key. Who cares? This
the average consumer can't hear the off key. They don't even know you off key because they sing off key.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
And now I can match your notes. So I feel like
now I'm turning up.
Exactly. I'm turning up.
You didn't move the post.
Yeah, exactly. And I appreciate it. Listen. I like the dunk, but I know I ain't got no 9-foot vert.
They done lowered it to 7.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I can yeet. Like, you know, like when you at the family cookout and they bring the little kid goal out.
Right.
Boy, I'm about to.
You Michael Jordan now.
Yeah,
right.
what? Yes. Another name that we cannot forget when we had this conversation. One is T-Pain, and the other one.
T-Pain. Now, see, T-Pain, I forgot about T-Pain. T-Pain actually sings as well as he raps.
Yeah.
He's actually like a Lauryn Hill for me.
Yeah.
Equally talented. I saw him do this entire singing show.
Yeah.
He was in like a living room type. He had on like a smoker's jacket and everything, you know, because he's dramatic.
Oh,
he's dramatic.
The covers out.
Yes.
Yes.
That was so good.
Yeah.
That boy was singing down.
He actually has this new song out. It's kind of new. It came out a few months ago. It came out this summer, but it's called On This Hill. Mm-hmm. It is 100% singing.
I bet it's the bomb. Now I gotta go find it.
It's On This Hill. T-Pain. You gotta go listen to that one.
Because I love T-Pain.
Yeah. And the last one, and he's not more of a. He's not. I wouldn't say he's a rapper at all, but his presentation was always hard. Mm-hmm. Nate Dogg.
Oh man, he wasn't a rapper, but ain't nobody colder than Nate Dogg.
Nobody.
Nate Dogg he is the ambassador of hooks. There's nobody better than Nate Dogg in terms of hooks. If you get Nate Dogg on your hook, hit record.
Oh, automatically.
Hands down.
This is where I wanna be.
It's his cadence and everything. He told up. Hey,
yeah.
Listen.
Yeah.
He used to turn up smoke every day.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody colder than Nate
Dogg.
Dogg.
Yeah. And this is the last one that's going to transition to me in my next conversation. Kanye, actually.
Kanye.
And that's another artist who, like, I'm not listening to Kanye for him to hit the notes.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them songs, I know you ain't hitting the notes, but damn it, I'm hitting these notes.
It's not about it. He just, like the Donda album was brilliant.
Yeah.
I really love, and I hate that who he has chosen to be, which is, of course, his business.
Yeah.
But I hate that because he's being himself, it overshadows how great that work was.
Yeah.
That work was great. That was great work.
It was absolutely great work.
And
just personally, the Donda album hit for me in a time where I needed that music.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved that album. I still listen to that album over and over again. It has some really great records on there, great music, the production, the lyrical content.
Everything
really
surrounding
good.
that album, like even the things that he did in Atlanta at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
That's fantastic.
I went to both of those shows.
How was it?
It was amazing. And both shows were different.
Because it was COVID-y and I was nervous.
Oh, yeah, it was. It was September 2021.
Yep.
And I remember the first one was more like him just being in the arena and just playing his music while he's on the floor. Uh-huh. And the second one was more of a show. Mm-hmm. It was
where
more.
He had the house.
Yes, he had the house. He had his performers in the middle, and then like right at the end when you thought the show was over, he ascended to, well, it wasn't him. It couldn't have been him. He did it too quick. But there was a body double that ascended to the top of the stadium.
See, that would have made me scared. But I get it.
The theatrics.
The theatrics are always a good time.
Yeah, and
because he's a creative.
Yeah.
And that's why he wins, because he's different and he's always thinking ahead creatively. So he's beating the norm all the time because he's always pushing his creativity.
Yeah, he's a trendsetter. He's definitely a trendsetter. He's always going to end up number one on my list of favorite artists of all time.
He's always for me.
For sure.
That's from Chi-Town. Kanye West, he could do whatever he want to do in his own life, but just let him be and leave him alone.
But in
terms of music,
yeah,
it's not too many that can beat him.
So, I mean, you were a part of Kanye's story, like from the very first record that a lot of us got introduced to him on. And he has so many bangers on that first album. It's hard to pinpoint which one you heard first.
Yeah.
But all falls down from there to the Kanye we have in 2024. He just dropped Vultures 2 with Ty Dolla $ign. Mm-hmm. What from the stuff you see from his music and like the stuff you see like in the media, when you see that, what are your thoughts?
You know what? He ain't killing nobody. He ain't killed nobody. He ain't raped nobody. He don't have 34 felony convictions. He ain't I mean, he ain't being a super crazy human. He's not hurting other people. He's just being weird in the what we think is weird, you know, because what's not weird. You see what I'm saying? He's
everybody
just
weird to somebody.
Everybody weird to somebody.
Yeah.
That's a word. He's just being himself, and we just looking at him like, dude. Now, when he say weird stuff, I'll be like, come on now. Now that's a fool.
Yeah.
But again, it's people that say weird stuff all the time. They gonna say it, and then that's their opinion, and
Yeah.
then you go about your business. I think because of social media, it highlights everything. If we didn't have social media, go back to the time when you had social media. When people said stuff, didn't nobody know. It was probably a whole bunch of fools out here talking like a fool, but we didn't know because it wasn't spotlight. You know what I'm saying? Spotlit. So I just feel like because he's evolving into who he is, it's just not setting well with everybody because, again, like I said, people need to compartmentalize. People need to know you as who they know you to be. For example, this was a long time ago, and I saw Joe in an interview, and he was talking about like doing different genres or switching up or something like that. And his fear, this was a while ago, a long time ago, but it still speaks to the industry status quo, right? That maybe consumers might not know about, but you kind of touched on it too when you talked about, the one artist that felt like she had to do a certain kind of album. Joe was like, I'm nervous to do certain things because my fans won't like it. He's tried and they just, a lot of times, you don't want to try something new. You know what I'm saying? And so my point is, people know Kanye from College Dropout. The things that they loved him for. And then the albums after that were still dope. He was turning up all the way. Yeah. So then when he decided to go left, it didn't match up with some of the things he was saying politically either. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Which kind of rub people the wrong way. Maybe had he just evolved creatively, people might not have cared about, him walking around in shower shoes and all this, and rain boots and all this other. No, people might not have cared as much. They still would have loved him, as an artist and not cared as much. Yeah.
And that's the downside to having so much access to you on social media, because one thing I can't say about Kanye, when he does hop on social media, it's for a reason. He about to drop. He's dropping the album. Yeah, I mean, he's gonna talk crazy. That's his promo.
And the people, guess what they do? Eat it up.
Yeah, and quietly enough, man, I just thought about this. Kanye's definitely being blackballed. He dropped 2 albums this year. One he had a song go #1 on the Billboard charts, and it was essentially no press around any of it. So he's doing all of this off of the love that he's garnered from his fans, and I think that's something that has to be acknowledged because he is an all-time great.
Well, listen, he's an all-time great, but let me be very clear about these charts. They are bought and paid for. If you have money, you can go #1 with Barry Had a Little Lamb. And that's on everything I love. And that's on the radio charts. They are bought and paid for. Yeah. Now, if I am buying radio ads, right, and I'm buying radio, and maybe I ain't supposed to be saying this, but if I'm buying into the radio, radio ads to push my album up the charts, then other charts will say, hey, oh, okay, then it's there. You know what I'm saying? Oh, it's there. It's on the radar. Now it's there, so we can push ours to the top if it's not digital. Yeah. Right? But if it's radio, you got to buy that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Now, streaming is different. Mm-hmm. That's where we can kind of control that, the fans. You know what I'm saying? We could say, oh, Kanye's fans. The man got, I don't know, a zillion followers. So at least about 10% of those followers are going to act on your art. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Buy it, stream it, all of that. So that's where that kind of comes from. Or if you attach it to something that pushes it. Like everybody was doing that little dance.
Oh yeah, the
that's
social media.
That's what pushed that. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Or TikTok videos or different things. Kanye coming out and saying a couple words. Yeah. Hey, man, it's out. That's the kind of power that we have as artists now to be able to do it without paying for it. Yeah. But if you see somebody's #1 on radio or going up on radio, they bought that. Yeah. And radio don't care who you are.
I love that. I love the landscape of music and entertainment where the producers can control the promotion of their art.
They can. Like, grassroots.
You don't have to, like back in the 90s, because I was born in the 90s, so I saw what happened in the 90s, 2000s, 2010s, and up until now. I saw artists need to go to the labels. Mm-hmm. But you had the creative ones, like down in Atlanta, we had Ludacris, who was selling out the back of his trunk. Uh-huh. So now Master P? Yeah, Master P as well. So you have these people who were able to do this without the labels back then, but now artists have social media.
Yeah.
So when I see rappers like, oh, I need to get signed, you want the look. You want to say, oh, I'm with Def Jam. Like I'm in radio, I'm in music. I don't care what label you name drop. That doesn't matter.
See, I think too, and that's true if they don't understand what a label brings.
Exactly, and
you
a
see
lot
what
of
I'm
them
saying?
don't.
Now, what a label does bring. Okay, so I've been both. I've been independent. I've had major label, small label. I've done it all. Right. I'm 30 years in this game. I've seen, heard it all. Legacy is totally 100% independent. Right. But let's be honest. They're both very difficult.
Yeah.
At least with a label, you have a team that will push your records, a team that will go out and have relationships with the iHearts, relationships with radio stations, and that can help to get you into, publicists that they pay, that are already embedded in the record label to allow you to be able to just be a creative. But when you're independent, imagine you the CEO and you do all the jobs at the company.
Yeah. Social media,
Listen,
graphics,
you're everybody.
PR, security.
Let me tell you, you're the assistant.
Yeah.
Okay, you're the desk receptionist. So it's harder. It's rewarding, but it's still hard.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if they thinking that it's just from a Hollywood perspective, oh, I'm on Def Jam. Yeah, it's good and bad with both. Sometimes if you don't understand your money, it depends on how you negotiate your contract. Maybe it's not just you own Def Jam. Maybe you are in partnership with Def Jam. Maybe you're still an independent artist, but you're distributed through Def Jam.
It's a lot of levels.
It's a lot of different little levels.
And then there's another aspect of it where, like, say if I'm a music exec and I am at Def Jam, right? I leave Def Jam. But I know how to work. I know everything that makes Def Jam work.
You can make that part of your independent team. You can make that person.
So if you're one of my artists, you technically independent, but you got Def Jam's whole playbook. Yeah. So that's how you have some of these artists who are pushing.
That's a great point.
That's how you have some of these artists that are pushing independent, but they know what to do. It's the difference between independent. You still on Howard Mill passing your mixtapes out, your CDs. Independent versus somebody like Forbaps, who came out of nowhere because he had people on his team who knew the playbook for the labels. But they
also got this.
Yeah, that matters.
They got coins.
Yeah.
Because you can have as many playbooks in the United States of America. Steve Kerr can have all the plays of Phil Jackson.
Yeah.
But if you ain't got Michael, Scotty,
you
see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're not going nowhere.
Yeah.
If you don't have Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond
If
Green,
it's me out there shooting them threes.
If it's me and you, your playbook don't mean nothing.
They're going to disband the team.
The team is over.
Yeah, the team is over.
We lost.
We
lost every game.
We're going to put this budget into the WNBA.
Listen,
they got another WNBA
we're
team.
Semi-pro. We're semi-pro.
Who's that movie with
Love is sexy.
With Will Ferrell?
That's it. Semi-pro. We're loving Miss Sexy. That's all we got. And we might win with that because I'm a singer. That's it.
Exactly.
So the playbook is one thing, but you have to have the budget to be able to push the playbook.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And don't get it twisted. It's not impossible. You can raise capital. You can align yourself with brands and different things like
investors.
that. Yes. You can have investors. So it is possible. You can do it, but they're both hard.
Yeah,
they're both hard because even the think work of having to control and be in control of a team and all that. Whereas you're on a label, everybody else is doing it. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of you're being a creative.
Absolutely.
And you're still on top of your business, but you can be more of a creative.
Yeah, for sure. Now, one of the final things I want to talk about, you mentioned a very specific number earlier, 34 felonies.
Yeah.
Now, we saw the shenanigans.
Only one person that's got that.
Yeah, we've seen the shenanigans that have been playing out the past few months.
Correct.
But I saw on the other side when the kind of pushback Kamala had for having Meg at her performance or her rally down here in Atlanta. And I was like, you're speaking to a different crowd. You got to speak to that crowd's language. And people were upset about me, upset with me for saying this, but I feel like Megan has a place in the political space.
So wait, we want the votes of Megan's fans, but we don't want Megan?
That's what I was saying.
That don't make sense.
Like, a lot of people were saying that she should have had like an R&B artist up there.
She's one of the biggest artists right now.
And she's a woman.
And she's a woman and a Black woman.
Yeah.
And she is also a Black woman who is proud of her sexuality.
Yeah.
She is a woman who is unapologetic about her sexuality. And we're trying to support a candidate that wants to bring back women's rights.
Yeah.
By overturning Roe versus, giving us back Roe versus Wade. You know what I'm saying? Overturning that decision to overturn it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So, and just fighting for women's rights, Planned Parenthood, all the things that in vitro, they want to take away just any little thing that you're just taking control of women's bodies, and y'all ain't women.
Yeah.
So if I am a candidate, and listen, yeah, she could have picked anybody else. She could have got some other people.
But you got up there and sang a song for.
Of course, I did. I was at the DNC in Chicago.
Oh, you know what?
Some Kamala
You going real big now.
Let me tell you something. I kicked off the DNC.
So we got to keep. We got to. You got to leave your dates open for November 5th now.
What's November 5th?
For
sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Leave your dates open now.
For sure. Well, let me tell you what I'm leaving open.
My
day, so that I can go and vote.
Yeah.
I won't be performing on that day. I will be voting on that.
Well, hopefully the votes is settled by 9 p.m.
Let me tell you something,
Hopefully,
because they already acting a fool in Texas. They already trying to strike voters from a million votes. They just, so it's just, listen, and let me say this. I'm not a big, y'all need to vote for, I'm not doing that. You do whatever you want to do.
I just want people to make informed decisions.
I'm gonna do what I want to do.
I want people to make informed decisions.
But make informed decisions, like you said. Do the research on. You ain't got to do the research on Trump because it's right there.
It's right there.
But
don't go to YouTube. Don't go to no YouTube videos.
Trump will tell you, I got 34 felony convictions, and be proud of it. Trump will tell you, yes, it was me who overturned Roe versus Wade. I was responsible.
Yeah.
He will tell you that he's
put his
nuts.
name on it.
The man said black jobs and dared somebody to say something to him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he's already telling you everything. He calling Kamala a new name every week.
Yeah.
What he called the other day, he called her a dummy.
Yeah.
And this man didn't failed at a whole university, but she dumb.
Yeah.
See, I just can't. I'm not going to get into that, okay? People do need to, I would say they need to research Kamala.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they're trying to find things that are negative. It's going to be negative stuff about everybody. I just say you got to weigh your options.
Weigh it up.
And listen, Trump was already in office. Did he do good? The jury's out. What is it? 1 million people died behind COVID?
Yeah.
COVID
was definitely mismanaged.
It's called COVID-19.
Yeah.
The 19 is off of 2019.
Yeah.
That's when it was introduced. Who was in office then?
Let me think.
Just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
And that's the same man who got rid of the pandemic department. He down to the government. But
he dumped a lot of things that we need.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm just little old me.
Yeah.
I don't have no quorum with nobody that wants to go down to the polls and push that button for Donald Trump. You do what you think is right in your spirit.
You gonna be great.
You do what you
in your lavender.
You do what you got to do. You want to put on your red hat, go down there, put your hat on, your cap on, and do what you got to do. Because the truth of the matter is, you and I can sit here and talk all day about who people should vote for, whatever. People gonna still do what they want to do, and it's gonna be people that's hollering MAGA, that's gonna be down to the polls still voting for Kamala. You better believe it. They're going to be looking across that thing like ain't nobody going to see me and pushing them.
Shout out to the Republicans for pay.
And the Republicans is even like, oh, no, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Okay, Trump, we tried with you, but this is too far.
Yeah.
They can't even take it.
Exactly. I feel you.
But, listen. Just do your research, like you say, on every single body, and make an educated decision.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do. And trust me, you're going to make the right one.
For sure.
If you make an educated one, you're going to make the right one.
Legacy.
This
Friday, the 30th.
This Friday, August 30th.
Yeah.
I
don't know. Did you see
much
this?
great music. Oh, wow. You have a legacy tattoo. Now, what does legacy mean to you?
Okay, so when I was
the tables is turned.
When I was yes, I'm being interviewed now. When I was in 2019, I had lost it happened in 2018. So in 2018, I lost the that was the last big job that I had before this. I used to work for TMZ. So I was kind of like, I wasn't in LA. I was out here doing it. So I was kind of like unchecked. But, you know, working with TMZ, you figure out, like, you don't get to tell the stories you want to tell.
Right. So
I lost that job July 28th, 2018. And I remember a lot of big dates in my life because that was right before my birthday. It was 2 days before my birthday. So bad fall, bad winter. At the top of 2019, my mom's a teacher, so she helped me get a job teaching. So 2019 to 2021, I was teaching. So I taught through the pandemic, and in the middle of the pandemic, no, at the beginning of the pandemic, in January 2020, I started my podcast, The Big Homie's House. So
I remember that. I remember seeing that on social media.
Wow, that's crazy. So
you know, that's all we had was the social media.
Yeah, so I started that during the pandemic in 2020, and it took off like right when they sent us home. So that whole spring, summer, fall, I had to work on purely my because I didn't like teaching. I liked being involved with the community, but I didn't like teaching. So my mom was always the type was like, you know, you gotta wait till you get a good job and get settled before you get any tattoos. So I quit that job in 2021. I didn't have my radio job lined up. I just knew God told me, it's like, you know what, your purpose is bigger than your current situation. So when I quit, I didn't have this lined up, but I quit, and in August of that year, I ran into DJ Louis V, the program director down here at iHeart. And I told him, and he already knew about it. He already knew about the podcast. So me and my co-host, Jojo Alonzo, we were doing the show together, and we both had got picked up. So we're the first podcast turned radio show in Atlanta.
Wow. That's dope.
So, but after that, it was like, once I quit, I was like, you know what? This is what I'm doing it for. I don't want my kids to be in a situation where daddy didn't take no risk on anything that he wanted to do.
That's good.
So I got this tattoo to remind me that, one, I'm not going back to teaching.
Okay.
And two, like, I'm not going back to doing anything that I don't want to do. And two, I'm doing this for my kids. Like, I don't care if I don't see anything, if I personally never see any of the fruits of my labor, I'm fine. But as long as my kids, my family is set up, that's what I'm doing it for. I don't want any of them to have to do what I had to do. I don't want them to like worry about their future, anything like that. How they gonna eat, where they gonna stay, because daddy took the risk. But then I went crazy and I got this.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. I'm
I
just
got
like
this.
Is this, this,
I got some in my leg.
We're nuts, so it's fine.
Yeah, I actually I gotta go get some more. But
I might copy.
Yeah.
I might get that legacy.
Yeah.
I might get that one over here just for my father.
Exactly. This is literally the first one. And that's what I'm doing it for, legacy.
I love that.
Yeah, I made a choice. Like when I sat, because I got 3 at a time. So I had 2 sessions. I got 3 right here and I got 3 on my leg. So it was like,
you went crazy. You said, okay, you said I had to be settled.
Yeah. And
I'm going back for all the years I didn't get to get it.
Exactly. So with everything I'm doing now, man, there's no possible way I could ever like go back. Like I'm here. Like I feel like once you get to a certain level in this line of work, like you can't do anything regular.
But isn't it beautiful? And that's the part of social media that is it's the beauty of social media. You can be free.
Yeah.
You can be free. You don't have to just lock yourself into a situation. But let the people know, yes, I'm free, but it wasn't free.
Yeah.
For me to become free.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you're going to pay a price either way.
Yeah.
So you might as well pay the price, pay the cost to be the boss.
Exactly. And I know my mission on earth is to elevate God's vision and his message to other people.
Service.
So, yes, service. You know, these blessings aren't just for me. It's for other people to see that God is good.
Yes, he is all the time.
God is amazing.
And he can do any and everything.
So he put me in this platform where I can talk to a bunch of people at once. So when they see these blessings that I got, like, man, that guy works hard. No, I work hard, but it's because of God's favor that I'm getting the things that I'm getting.
Come on. And but also too, understanding what God's direction is for you and adhering to the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
Because something inside of you said, look here, man, you need to start your own podcast.
Yeah.
And that's scary. Now, it's a million podcasts out here. Not all of them make it and get to be on radio stations and become the first radio. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you stepped out on a limb. You believed in what God had set forth in your spirit, in your heart.
Yeah.
And that's hard for a lot of people to do because faith is by knowing, not by sight. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, you believed, you exercised your faith, and that's why God rewarded you.
Yeah.
Because when you took one step to him, he takes 3-4 steps in advance. You know what I'm saying?
He did all the heavy lifting for sure. So it was
it's gonna be smooth sailing when you do what God wants you to do.
Yeah,
it's gonna be. You're gonna be like, wow,
because it was a reason them other situations didn't work.
Right, but there were lessons in them.
Oh, it was always a lesson.
So you had to go through them. You never took. Tell somebody again.
I never took a loss. It's
you.
never something where I like, damn, I shouldn't have.
Nope.
Even though I have the things where like, I wonder what would happen if I did this.
Right.
But I never took a loss. I'm where I'm supposed to be.
But all of those little pieces got you here.
Exactly.
If you hadn't taken those losses, you wouldn't have got to this win.
If I was happy just sitting in a control room overnight, running commercial and ads on another station, and I would have still been there. I wasn't. It disturbed my spirit.
That's when God is telling you, all right, now it's time.
It's kind of like if you know how your body works. If you get a splinter in your finger, your body will push it out because it's not supposed to be there.
You better come and preach on down to this iHeart interview. You better say something.
So yeah, I mean that's just another thing God put in my
but
spirit
that people needed to hear. Let me tell you something. What you said was good words.
Yeah.
There's so many people out here that aspire to do something that they feel is too hard because they don't have the resources. But sometimes when you step out on faith, the resources will miraculously come. And you be like, wow, I didn't think I can do it until you look back. And you like, man, it's not, you don't know you swam the shore until you look back.
Yes.
And say, I swam that far,
Yes. Yes.
So what you're saying is really good confirmation for a lot of, independent artists or people that are independent creators and creatives that want to do something with just what God gave them, but they scared.
You can't be scared.
Yeah, God didn't give us a spirit of fear.
Yeah, talk to him now.
But of sound mind and what else is the script?
Power.
What that's 1 Timothy 2:7.
Yeah.
Hello, somebody.
I know that's right.
Or is it 2 Timothy 1:7? Y'all get it mixed up.
Listen, Syleena Johnson in the building, kicking with your homie. Ours 96.1 The Beat, Big Homie's house. I'm glad you came in here and kicked some game to the people.
I'm glad. I just had a whole bunch of fun. We just kicked it. We talked about some really good stuff too.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's just a conversation. I feel like those are the best ones. I don't really come in here with a script. I know that's right. I like just having organic conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And not shady organic conversations, like trying to get somebody to mention something. You know what I'm saying? I hate when I had to walk into somewhere like that and then you like, oh, now I got to answer this question. That's dumb. Yeah. We didn't talk about none of that. We was in here turning up.
Yeah, we had it.
You wouldn't even know that I like BOSSMAN DLOW. That's my boy.
I wouldn't have.
I wish I could think of some of the words. Yeah. It's one of the songs.
I can make that dope strip.
Listen.
I can teach you.
What he said, I need to call my son.
Oh.
My son do a whole impersonation of BOSSMAN DLOW. We be all in the house turning up.
I was mad at school.
That's the one right there. He was like, some come in with me. Listen, I wish I knew the words.
Hold on, I'm about to.
But the school song is the one. I was bad in school. That's my song.
It was.
That's the one right there.
Listen, that's another episode of the Big Homie's House, 96.1 The Beat. We gone.